are some of the pictures from Solai in Nakuru that have broken the hearts of Kenyans as they come to terms with the tragedy that killed 44 people with 40 others unaccounted for and displaced 2,500 people. The dam breached its banks, sweeping away hundreds of homes in the neighborhood, including those of those expansive Nyakinyua farm, which borders the water reservoir. The 1-acre Patel Dam broke its banks on Wednesday night following heavy rains pounding the region, leaving behind a trail of deaths and destruction. Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i visited the scene, saying the government will do all it can to help the affected families, while Education PS Belio Kipsang ordered closure of Solai Boys High School, which was damaged during the incident. The mega dam is one of the 3 water reservoirs owned by a large-scale irrigation farmer, Manskul Patel, who was not around at the time of the tragedy. And that is where we begin our bulletin this afternoon. I am Ashley Mazuri, and this is KTN News Desk. Director of Public Prosecutions Noordin Haji has directed Inspector General of Police Joseph Boinnet to launch an investigation into the cause of Wednesday night's tragedy in Solai, where a dam burst its banks due to heavy rains, killing at least 44 people. The DPP has asked the police post to forward a resultant investigation file in 2 weeks in a bid to ensure those found culpable are brought to book. Of those confirmed dead, 20 are children in the worst flood-related tragedy in the country since the heavy rains started. Elfas Lagat has been following this story in Nakuru and now joins us. Elfas, good afternoon. What else do we know?
Good afternoon to you, Ashley, in the studio. As you rightly put it, this has been a major tragedy in Solai, Nakuru County. This morning, what we can tell you is that the search and rescue mission has started. It started, and we can confirm to you that we had a conversation with one of the Red Cross, a source from Red Cross. They confirmed to us that one more body has been recovered. We'll also add that today's search was between Solai and a place that is called Banita. It's about 10-kilometer stretch where KDF soldiers working closely with NYS as well as Red Cross had started the process of just trying to recover more bodies. What we can also confirm to you that early in the morning, there was a false alarm that the other dam, number 3 of the Patel Dam, had broken its dams due to structural integrity issues, but that was not the case. It was KDF soldiers working with a multi-agency that was established by the national government with a cooperation with the county government to try and just empty that dam, because there had been earlier reports that the dam had faulties. It had cracks and such was faulty. So that was KDF soldiers just trying to empty the dam to try and curtail any tragedy of 9th of May proportion from happening again. What we can also confirm to you that is this morning, relatives of those who lost their lives, loved ones, as well as those who are still missing, because the number is still around 40, have come to Solai Secondary School, Solai Boys Secondary School, to just try and establish if they can find their loved ones. And Red Cross working closely with World Vision, Lions Club, and Nakuru, the National Disaster Management Unit, as well as the county government as well, just trying to reassure the victims of this tragedy, trying to tell them that people stand together with them and providing them with food materials, non-food materials as well, to just try and give them warmth in this time of grief for them. Today, we are also expecting some senior members of Cabinet Secretary for Water, Simon Chelugui, to be joining us shortly. We've already had seen members or officials from the interior. We are also expecting Baringo Senator Gideon Moi to be arriving to this particular place. Leaders are sending condolences to those who lost their loved and trying just to stand with them. And that's the situation so far. It has been raining as I'm talking to you. The rain just ended, but we'll be joining officials to give us more report on this particular story. We are following on it closely, Ashley, and we'll be able to be giving you updates as to when they happen, Ashley.
All right, many thanks, Alpha Slagat. They are joining us from Nakuru in Solai, where there was the tragedy. As he said, he will be giving us more details. He's keeping an eye as things unfold. Meanwhile, the government spokesman, Eric Kirai, they held a press briefing this morning on a myriad of issues. Raquel Mugai was there. Raquel, good afternoon. What are the areas that the spokesperson touched on?
Good afternoon to you, Ashley. The government spokesman, Eric Herrera, was here today in the morning and on an official visit following ahead of the music festivals that are set to be held here on August that will get to attract at least 2,000 students from the secondary schools as well as primary schools and the colleges. But apart from that, he was able to speak on matters that affect the nation, and one of the top agendas that he also mentioned today during that particular briefing is how the media is changing the narrative of this country or shaping the narrative of this country. He said that at this particular point, the media is a very powerful tool and can be able to change a lot, be it positive or negative. And he says that apart from what we get to do in terms of picking out what politicians have said, what those in the political field or influential persons have mentioned, we also need to focus on the big four agenda of the government, given that these are what the public are interested in. That is universal healthcare, affordable housing, manufacturing, as well as agriculture and food security. And therefore, these are some of the things that he said, stating that a lot of times what occurs in a country has been shaped by what journalists have been able to dispense out there in the media, and therefore this is something probably that will be a topic of consideration even as we continue to keep up with the check and keeping the government in check, actually. But he was also able to mention about the Solai Dam tragedy that has affected a lot, killing at least 40 people so far, and others who are still unaccounted for. But let's listen in to what he actually had to say about that particular incident.
So far is that this dam has existed for over 50 years in where it was. We know that Patel Farm has been an ongoing agricultural enterprise, and they have been employing a lot of people, including from the village, which was unfortunately ravaged by this tragedy. We know that they have made contributions in the education of their neighbors, but we also know that the Water Management Authority had an inspection of some of those dams and expressed their concerns. We know that a lot of families have been displaced, a few hundreds, and having established that, what has the government done? Immediately the tragedy was reported, the government mobilized all the responding agencies, including the National Police Service, the National Youth Service, and by morning also the Kenya Defence Forces had joined us to support civilian authorities in alleviating the suffering. We know that the search and rescue efforts are going on. The government has focused in that area. The two cabinet secretaries attended to the scene yesterday. And currently, the efforts going on, there is the search and rescue is going on. Also, we are focused on medical care for those who have been injured. We are also focusing on relief efforts to those who have lost families and loved ones, those who have lost their shelter. We are focusing on that, and we as several agencies, Red Cross, the St. John's Ambulance and others, the county government are making every effort. We are also inviting other Kenyans of goodwill to step in and see how we can make the people who are met by this mukasa to have a normal life to feel that they are not the most unfortunate people. They are living among other citizens who are also concerned. Be that as it may, our assurance is that the government will make every effort. The tragedy will be investigated comprehensively. All the information available will be taken into place to ensure that this does not recur. From a wider perspective, we have asked the county security committees to work hand in hand with the county governments to inspect every possible hazard which can arise from the current heavy rains, to inspect every effort being made to preserve the water. You know that the government has been encouraging capturing and storage of that water as a key policy matter, and therefore what we would want to see is a coordinated effort right from the sub-chief level to ensure that no more lives are lost.
That is government spokesman Eric Kirai.